health benefits. Shilajatu gives a sort of a high enhancement of the therapeutic properties. It increases the guna of a person. It increases the guna of the other drugs whichever is been associatedly added along with Shilajatu. Say for example Arogyavardhini Rasa. So similarly like that it is guna adhikaha. Even that way we take this term as guna adhikaha. Also the word just prior to that, sasattvam and nissattvam. This is also an extension to that of the Shilajatu references which we find in the Samhita period. Most of you would have been already referred to this concept of Shilajatu from the textbook of Charaka Samhita and Sushruta Samhita, wherein he speaks about the types of Shilajatu as Swarnadrija, Rajatadrija, Tamradrija and Lohadrija. So there are 4 types of Shilajatu as per Charaka, whereas Sushruta has added Naga and Vanga, another 2 types of Shilajatu. So here Acharya is asking us, it is sasattva nisattva in the sense, usually when you find Shilajatu extensively in a gold mines, then it is called as Swarnadrija Shilajatu or Swarnadrija. In case if you find the Shilajatu in silver mines or where you got a high deposit of silver, then it is called as Rajatadrija. Similarly, you find it for the other drugs. Sattva is primarily the term which is being used for the essence of it or the chief component of it. And the chief component of the Shilajatu is the metallic component which is in a state of easily digestible state, as you see in case of Shilajatu. So those things are the sasattva, and the one where you don't have any of these trace metals, where you don't have the trace elements, it is called as nisattva. So you have sasattva and nisattva chiefly categorized only on this as the one which is having the metallic traces, or nisattva is the one which doesn't have the metallic traces. There are certain times, this is basically bitumen. When you try to see how you can extract the bitumen, it is usually seen from the deeper part, aerobic and anaerobic. From there it is being extracted. From where it is being extracted. And that particular one, it is being clinically utilized. Was this all already discussed? Shilajatu?
Yes, sir. We had discussed it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Then I think we need to go for Tutta. Because only this part of Sasattva and Nisattva was not carried out. So I have come back to this. The rest of the things was being discussed. So shall go to the next shloka. It is shloka number 118. It is on Sasyaka. He speaks about Pitva halahalam vantam pita amruta guru mataha Vishena amruta yuktena girau marakathavvaye tadvantam hi ganibhutam sanjatam sasyakam kaluhu mayurakanta samachchaya bharadyo atishasyate, where he speaks about the Grahya Lakshana and the way how it was being produced. This is about the Sasyaka. So here the Sasyaka is something like he himself knows like this is a toxic substance. So Pitva halahalam, once Lord Shiva has taken the poison and that particular halahala, considering that as amruta, Garuda has taken some amount of it, which was being vomited because he is unable to digest it. Where did it fall? It fell on the Marakatha mountains. So once it fell on the Marakatha mountains, that particular thing has been converted into the Sasyaka. How it looks like? It looks like the Mayurakanta Samachchaya. It is just like Mayurakanta. And Bharadyo Atishashyate. It is Adhika Bhara, and it is also said to be extensively usable. It is the best variety. He speaks about Mayurakanta. The one which you are getting today in the market is Tutta. It's not Sasyaka because it is artificially prepared, what you call it as copper sulfate crystals. Whereas a Mayurakanta, what you have here, Mayurakanta crystals or the Bornite crystals or the peacock ore. It's called as a peacock ore. So those crystals are being used here, which is called as Mayurakanta, which is quite heavy and also it is being highly praised. The next shloka, he speaks about dravyam vishayuktam yattad dravyadika gunam bhavet. So he speaks about sudha hala halehi yuktaha sudha adi ka gunaha tataha. So where he speaks about this is one particular substance which is mixed with poison because it is a derivative of halahala. So even today, bornite or copper sulfate, whatever you take, it is considered as a poison. It is a poison. And only if you can process it in a proper way, only if you can remove the blemishes from out of it, then it is equivalent to the nectar. So this is one such component which is a combination of the Visha and Amruta together. It is a combination of Visha and Amruta. And this particular thing should be removed only in case if you are supposed to clinically administer it to the patients. So this is an extensive property. And in the next shloka, he speaks about the properties. So Sasyaka, which elevates the doshas, specifically its action is on Vata, where it is very extensively used because he speaks about Nishesha dosha. See, this is a very important word. Nishesha dosha. In case if you have any of the Avashesha doshas, you have any of the things like, see, you don't treat a patient properly. In case if it happens like you did not treat the patient properly, then the avashesha doshas in the body get accumulated and they cause disorders in the future. Might be you name it as a concept of Lina dosha state. Lina doshas or the mild form of the doshas in a vitiated form or hiding somewhere in the dhatus. Once they find a suitable time, once they find a convenient time, they will evolve or manifest back into the disorders. So by administering Tutta or by administering Sasyaka, the Nishesha doshas, the left out doshas, whatever you have, all the doshas are being removed out. They are being removed out. And one more thing is about, yes, definitely. It is a total Vata Pradhana Dravya. So whenever you would like to give to the patients, it is specifically administered in Vataja conditions. It is specifically given in Vataja conditions. And this particular thing is also a total toxin. You need to remove it. So you should be cautious while administering it. And it is very much useful in case if you can remove the Visha out of it. Next is, it is also helpful in removing the Vishas from the body. It is helpful for detoxification of the body. This is very much true. Even today, when you read the textbook of pharmacology, when you see the biochemistry part of the copper, the copper is the most essential component in the copper sulfate. It is very much useful for removing the unwanted toxins in the body. It is for the detoxifier. It is one of the best detoxifier. So doshas which need to be removed and which is very much useful in case it has been removed. The next thing is about the Rudhi. So it is very extensively used in the cardiac disorders. Again, when you read into the textbook of biochemistry, where you read about the copper mechanism, digestion and metabolism of copper, you'll come to know like copper is one such substance which increases the strength of the cardiac muscles. So it is specifically to be given to the patients wherever you have the cardiac illness with muscle pathology, cardiac muscle pathology, as you see in case of ischemic heart disease, myocardial ischemia. The blood supply is being deteriorated by which the musculature of the heart is being affected. So in those conditions, you are supposed to give Rudhi, that is where in the cardiac conditions. The next one, what he speaks about is Shula and Mula Vadis. He speaks about the Yes. It is specifically used in Shula, that is the Parinama Shula. It can be given in the abdominal disorders, and of course, it's quite evident like copper is very much beneficial to be administered in the conditions of the GIT, gastrointestinal tract. Copper is one such a drug which is having the capability of doing Urdhva and other Shodhana. You clinically administer this particular drug to the patient, then it happens like the person will not need a Shodhana. Or whenever you find a patient suffering from any of the illness where it is feasible to go for panchakarma, like he needs to be taken with Vamana and Virechana, you need to give him with Tamra, where he is unfit for the panchakarma. But this drug, Tamra or Tutta, is having the capability of doing the Shodhana of the Koshta. This is the reason why it acts best in Shula. You should read the Falashruti of Sasyaka with Tamra because both are similar drugs. Then you get a clinical data of how the drugs can be utilized. Next is Mula. Mula is the Arshas. Yes, you have the gastric disturbance, you have some disorders related to the lower part of the GIT, then it is going to land up into the Arshas, which is again a series of problems because Arshas, it's not just a discomfort to the patient, it's a discomfort for the whole of the GIT, by which he lands up into further constipation and the Urdhva doshas, and it causes lots of problems. And the next thing is it is being used in Kushta, especially in the Vata Pradhana Kushtas there. And also it is used in Amla Pitta and Vibhandara Haram Parancha. So it is also very much useful in the skin disorders. So this particular Tutta Basma, it is being extensively used in all the skin conditions, but more specifically in the Vataja skin conditions. So which all are the Vataja skin conditions? You have a list which has been enumerated by the Acharya, like which are Vata Pradhana. But in routine clinical practice, wherever you find excessive dryness of the skin, as it could be in excess of dry psoriasis, it could be in the form of eczema, lichen planus, any of these clinical conditions, you have excess of dryness in the patient. In those conditions, which is Vata Pradhana, or the spread of the illness is very quick, as you see in case of the Vataja conditions, all these patients needed to be treated with that of the Tutta Basma or the Sasyaka Basma. So this is the way how it has to be taken. So this is in Kushta, Amla Pitta, definitely. I'll say you try to give half a rati of Tutta Basma or Sasyaka Basma to the patient suffering from Amla Pitta or Parinama Shula. You can give it in gastritis, gastric ulcers, duodenal ulcers. In either of these conditions, you try to give Tutta Basma, you see the response in the patient. Possibly around 40 to 50 or maximum 65 milligrams once or twice daily is more than sufficient. Possibly you need not give any supporting drugs. You need not give any other drugs associated with it. Just give only this drug. This is sufficient to address the situations like Amla Pitta or Parinama Shula. Either it is a gastritis presentation or it is something like a peptic or a duodenal ulcers. In all these conditions, this makes wonders. So this is about the Amla Pitta. Vibandhana Haram, again it's related to the Arshas. So again, it's going to clear off the conditions like Vibandhara. Next is Parancha, Rasayanam. It is extensively used as a Uttama Rasayana. This is one of the best Rasayana, Tutta Rasayana or the Sasyaka Rasayana. And also Vamana Rekana Karam. So this is again very important. See, Vamana Rechana, you want to give it in the form of a basma where it is having avami guna as the basma siddhi lakshanas, then it is not going to do vamana rekana. The one which is did not pass avami gunas. So what we usually do is we take the semi-process or almost completed, not totally completed. Tutta basma and some part is being preserved. Or sometimes what I do, I take a very small concentrations of Shodhita Tamra. In fact, if not, because Tutta is easily absorbable into the system, so you should be cautious in administering the Tutta because it's copper sulfate, much easily absorbable, whereas the copper is not that easily absorbable. But both of them do have this action because of copper in it. So take a very small quantity, might be it's around 3 to 5 milligrams, mix it along with the Vamana or Rechana Dravya. Might be you mix it with Madanaphala or you mix it with Ichabedi or any of such substances. You see how the patient will have the Vamana and Virechana. Extensive Vamana and Virechana. Possibly the quantity of Madanaphala which you need to give for that particular patient is one portion, you can reduce it to half portion because this is going to have that beautiful action. Either in case if you want to use it Tutta Basma, try to see something like you need to give around 17 putas for accomplishing of Tutta Basma, make it to only 14 or 15 and preserve it for using it in Vamana and Virechana. Or in case if you want to use Tamra, Shodhita Tamra can be used. Shodhita Tamra, very small quantities, which is in the form of a powder, can be used for Vamana and Rechana. So this particular thing, it's going to totally evacuate, totally remove off all the toxins in the form of Doshahara, because you have Vishahara property here. And also it is going to protect the heart. So no problem in administering Vamana and Rechana. And for no reasons, the drug is going to get absorbed into the system. It has to show its action and it comes out. It doesn't assimilate into the body because you have used apakwa. It's in a state of apakwa avastha. And it is garagnam. So it is very much useful in the disorders of the Garavisha. Whenever you have the patient suffering from the Garadosha, you can ask him to take with that of the Tuttavasma. Also, it is extensively used in Shwitra because it's a hepatostimulant and the melanin pigmentation. Also, it's been supported by taking the Sasyaka. So, Shwitra Apahaha. Also, it is used in Gadita Matra. So, this particular thing, it's been used in all these disorders. It has been used in all these disorders. And also, it is a very good rasayanam. It is a very good rasayanam. And it's going to help in all the conditions of skin, including the Shweta Kushta. The next sloka, he speaks about the Shodhana of Sasyaka. Sasyakam Shuddhimapnoti Raktavargena Bhavitam Snehavargena Samsiktam Saptavaram Adushikam. So this is particular to be very specifically used in the clinical conditions wherever you have the Raktavarga Dravyas, whichever can be used. And among the people, like from the Rasa Shastra, we are using either Manjishta or Vatankura Kwata or anything like that, considering it as a Raktavarga. But I have seen some occult practices of the Tantric Siddhanta, wherein the people are using blood for bhavana with Tutta for purification. So, because they consider even the blood as Raktavarga. So, blood of the human is being taken, or sometimes blood of the animal is taken, and it is being triturated with Ashuddha Tutta to convert it into Shodhita Tutta. But I haven't tried those methods, and I haven't given any of those things in my patients. But still, this is into the practice among the Tantric people or some tribes, here and there in some tribes, wherein I could find using blood as a bhavana dravya. And the next thing is about the Sneha Vargena Samsiktam. Again, the same way, how you can make the oil substances. Usually we use ghee here. So ghee has been taken and it has been heated. You give something like you're frying it, by which it becomes cleared. Don't give excess of frying here because you have sulfur. Sulfur dioxide has been eliminated out and it could be toxic. So be cautious and be precautious while doing this. Next is, it is also used by doing the Svedhana, Dola Yantra, in the form of a Dola Yantra, along with any of the mutras. Either it is a Gomutra or Mahisha Mutra, or also even the Aja Mutra. He speaks about in shloka number 123. It is, it is being used by taking any of the mutras and you do the Svedhana. So this technique of doing Svedhana in Gomutra or Mahisha Mutra or Aja Mutra, this particular thing is very good in case if you are going to use Tutta as a Lekhana property or Sroto Shodhana property in an individual. And also I have find Tutta is a very good quality of a Basma once when you do Shodhana with Gomutra Svedita. It is very extensively used in Shvitrahara. Then we go for Gomutra Shodhita Tutta Basma. In case if you want it only for some skin conditions, because its clinical indications is in Kushta, so you want to use it in any of the skin conditions, then Raktavargya Dravyas has been used. And in case if you'd like to use in the GIT complications, as you see with the Parinamashula, Arshas, Vibhanda, or any of the conditions, including the cardiac conditions, we use it with the Gogrutha Barjita. In case if you would like to use it in any Shroto Sangha or Avarodha or Lekhana property, you have patients suffering from atherosclerosis or any deep vein thrombosis like conditions where you would like to use Tutta Basma to the patient, then Gomutra Svedita Tutta Shodhana is indicated. So depending on the therapeutics, try to change the Shodhana and try to use it in the patients suffering from it. So this is about the Shodhana. The next thing is about the Marana. Marana, wherein the drug like Sasyaka is been taken along with Gandhaka and Tankana, and it is being triturated with Lakucha, and it has been given with the Kukuta Puta, and it obtains a Basma of Tutta. So presently now I am processing one Tutta Basma with me. It's been already given around 4 putas with Kukuta Puta. Might be it will take more. Usually I give for the Tutta Basma, I usually give around 12 to 14 putas. By 9 or 10 it attains the Basma Siddhi Lakshana, but still as a precaution I try to extend another 2 to 4 putas, by which the Tutta becomes a very beautiful Basma. Also, I have given a comparative study between the Tutta Basma and the Sasyaka Basma. So both are same, either Tutta or Sasyaka, but Sasyaka is a bornite, which is naturally occurring copper sulfate, whereas Tutta is the chemical processed or artificially prepared. So this particular Tutta is not to be used, but therapeutically still it is active. But Sasyaka, in case if you can procure it and use it, then that is excellent. Because we have seen Sasyaka Basma clinical trials, they are quite extensively useful. And Sasyaka Basma is converted into the Basma Rupa very quickly. Tutta needs another 3 or 4 putas, whereas Sasyaka doesn't need excess of putas. It gets converted by 5 or 7. You can give an extension till 9 as a cross conformation, and it passes the Dadi Pariksha. So, and also the particle size which we could elicit in Sasyaka Basma were very minute, and even the therapeutics is really great with the Sasyaka Basma. The only disadvantage with Sasyaka is it is expensive because it's not occurring in India. Sasyaka is not available in India. We need to procure it from US or somewhere. Whereas Tutta is not a problem. Tutta is artificially prepared, very, very economical and easily available in the Indian market. So that can be used in any of the conditions. The next shloka is about the Sattvapatana of the Sasyaka. And there are 2 or 3 methods which is being explained. So it's a straightforward thing about the Sattvapatana. I would not like to go through this particular thing. It's a thing which you can refer it by yourself, where we are using Tankana along with lemon juice, and it has been given intense heat. Sorry. So by this you get the copper as an extract. Next is a Tutta Mudrika, which is quite interesting, which has been given in the next shloka. Sasyaka and Bhunaga Mudrika are extensively the concentrated part of the drug is being used for administering, or the jala or the water around it, which is kept with this mudrika. It's being used for the therapeutics. Which is very much useful in many of the clinical conditions. My teacher, Siddhinandan Mishra sir, had one mudrika. So that was a boon to see like the clinical trials with it. And sir used to use it. We haven't seen it, but it was an experience of my sir, wherein he said that he has used, but due to some reasons somebody has took it away from him or it was been misplaced. It looks just like a copper ring. It's my sir's version. It's not, because I haven't been experienced with that of the Tutta Mudrika or the Bunhaga Mudrika. It is an excellent Shulagna property. It is being used for the third stage of labor during delivery, or it is also given for the pain management. In all these conditions, this has been extensively used, by which it converts the whole of the situation in a wonderful way. In case if you can extract one lorry of Bhunaga, you get around 3 to 5 grams of Damra, or the essence part of it. From Tutta, you get a higher concentrations of copper, but from the Bhunaga, it is a very, very small concentrations of the mudrika or the copper which you get. So this is about the Tutta Mudrika. Specifically used as analgesic or the pain management. This is the reference from the Baluki in the Baluki Tantra, and it is being explained as the ring of the Kartikeya, name of the Kartikeya, as there is a ring name of Lord Rama, which is specifically used in Shula. He speaks about the clinical utility of it by heating the Tutta Mudrika and applying it, boiling it in oil or quenching it in oil. And that oil is being used for the local applications wherever you have pain. It is being applied on the genital organs. It is applied over the abdomen wherever they have. In case if you can apply it on the outer surface of the vagina, it gives quick delivery. It gives quick delivery. So this is a reference what we have, and yes, my sir used to say like this is extensively used for as a painkiller or analgesic. So this is about the Tutta. The next thing is about the Chapala, which is in the next shloka, chapter, it's 134. Chapala and Rasaka are quite an important drugs which need to be utilized. Unfortunately, even these two drugs are not available to us. Chapala and Rasaka are not that easily available to us. We are using the substitutes of it, or possibly it's not very much clinically active. These drugs are not clinically active, so because of its non-availability. So on that grounds, shall see here, we'll just run through these two drugs, not in very detail. We need very few of the things wherein we need to discuss about the Chapala and the Rasaka. The interactive part alone we'll try to discuss here. So it's a sort of a white or yellowish colored substance. It is a Gaura, Shweta, Aruna or Krishna. You're having the 4 types of chapalas. So along this, which looks like even the gold or the Shweta chapala, which resembles the color of silver, and especially it is used for the Parada Bandhana. So keep this in mind. Chapala is being used for the Parada Bandhana. So you should have some substance which can really amalgamate mercury, and which can be very conveniently used. When you speak about the bandhana, Parada Bandhana, the thing which will come across, and the last one, the last line, what you have there in the shloka is Vangavat Dravati Vanho Chapalastena Kirtitaha. So when you keep it on the fire, it melts just like Vanga. You find, you see the Vanga, how it melts. It's totally disintegrating in the form of a liquid when you keep it on a pan, hot pan. Similarly, when you go with that of the Chapala, he speaks of it disintegrates just like that. And one such component which you have is the bismuth. The bismuth crystals are easily available in the market. So these bismuth crystals, when you keep it on a pan and heat it, they disintegrate in a similar fashion as that of Vanga. And bismuth gets amalgamated with mercury very quickly. Bismuth and mercury are having a very good chemical composition and a chemical link wherein they get interacted very quickly in the form of a amalgamation. Next thing is about the properties of Chapala. It is Lekhana, it is Snigdha, and also the next sloka. Yeah. It makes the body just like Lohakara. It makes it Deha Lohakara. It makes it very strong as if the person body is made up of iron. So it is strength promoting. It is Tikta Pradhana and Ushna Virya. It is Madhura Vibhaka, and also it increases the quality of the mercury. That is Parada Bandhani, or it is helpful in doing the Parada Bandhana. Either amalgamation or it's going to strengthen the mercury there. And also it is useful like it is also glittering just like spatika. It is glittering. Spatika chaya, Chapala spatika chaya, Shadasra Snigdhako Guruhu. It is having Shadasra, it is having 6 sides, edges, and also it is being used specifically for elevating the three doshas, and also it is very much useful to be used in the aphrodisiac conditions and also helpful in Parada Bandhana. Maharaseshu Kaishishcha Shapalaha Parikirtitaha. So here the author of some of the authors of the Rasa Siddhas consider Chapala as one of the Maharasas. It's a reference what you have there. So this is a cross reference wherein the Acharya is given. Next is Shodhana. Shodhana is being used by triturating it either in the lemon juice or you can go for the juice of Karkotaka or in the juice of ginger. It can be by which you can attain the Shodhita Chapala. Satvapatana is again by heating it along with Kanji, Visha and Upavisha Dravyas, and it is being made in the form of a ball and it is being incinerated with high temperatures, by which the Chapala becomes more stronger. The next one is about the Rasaka. Again, this is also not practical just because of the reason we are not using these two drugs clinically as you see with that of the other drugs. The varieties what you have is Dardura and Caravella. The one which has a layers is called as a Dardura. The one which is not having the layers is called as a Caravella. The properties it can be used in all types of pramehas. It can be used in the kapha and the kshaja rogas. It is having the color as that of mercury. It is having the color similar to that of the mercury, and also it is being extensively used in conditions of the Siddha Rasas by the Nagarjuna, because it is considered as the best Rasayana or the best Siddha Rasa by Acharya Nagarjuna. And also it is explained as a Deha Siddhikara and Loha Siddhikara. It is used in Deha Siddhi and Loha Siddhi. It is also extensively useful in the conditions like the Parada and the Rasaka. It can give a sort of a Agnisthai, and also it is used in Dhatuvada. It is used in Deha Siddhi and Loha Siddhi. The next thing is about the Shodhana of the Rasaka. The Rasaka is being powdered and it is being mixed, especially with the Katutumbi juice in the vessel, and it is being boiled and it is being fried, it is being stirred, by which it becomes devoid of the disorders, and also it is being heated and it is dipped into the Bijapura Rasa. This is another method, and another method he speaks about is to purify the Karpara, quench it in human urine, that is in Naramutra, or in Ashwamutra, or in Takra. So these three components are being explained. By heating it and quenching it in either of these components, it can be converted into a Shodhita. It is being kept inside the Naramutra for 1 month, by which the Karpara becomes purified. So even Sthapana method is also been indicated. Satvapatana of the Rasaka, where you have mixing of Haridra, Triphala, Laksharasa, Saindava, Lavana, and Brihaduma, Ballataka and Tankana are being taken. And it is mixed with kanji, triturated with kanji or lemon juice. And this particular thing, it is being used for by giving intense heat, by which you get the sattva out of it. The method of taking the sattva is being explained by taking it along with Haritaki, Shilajatu, and Bhunaga, and Haridra Bhunaga, Tankana, everything together, and it is mixed and it is kept for Sattvapatana. And also you can use the Dravakagana here and mix it and keep it in a high temperatures by which you can get the sattva out of it. In the next shloka, he speaks about the sattva marana. Sattva marana is being used by you adding haratala, and it is being taken in an iron pan and it is kept for heating, by which you get the karpara sattva. Administration or the clinical administration of the rasaka, basmas of the karpara sattva is being used along with the kantaloha, and also it is being explained as to be given to the patients along with triphala vata. And it has been keep it in kantaloha patra overnight in a magnetic iron vessel overnight, and in the next day you can give that particular thing to the patient. It can be administered to the patient. It is helpful in clearing the disorders as Madhumeha, Pittaja Rogas, Kshaya Roga, Pandu, Shodha, Gulma, Ratta Gulma, Pradara, Soma Roga, and also various kinds of Yoni Vapats or Yoni Rogas, Arthavashula, Kasa, Shwasa, and Hika. So these are few of the clinical utilities wherein the Rasaka can be used in the patients. So as it is not really, we are not using it clinically, it's very difficult to comment more on these two drugs. So these are about the chapter wherein we complete the chapter on the Maharasas here. So anything you'd like to discuss about it, we can discuss.
Thank you so much, sir, with your deliberations. As far as today's discussion is concerned, regarding Tuth, sir, there is, I have one query regarding how to use it when we are using it in Jatyadi Tel.
Ashuddha.
Ashuddha should be used. Okay.
Whenever you use any of the external applications, try to use it as Ashuddha, no need of Shodhana.
Okay. And at what stage we should be adding Tuth, sir? Whether it should be added with the Kalk Dravyas or we should add it post-Pak in the form of as a Prakshep Dravyas?
Add it in the initial only along with the Kalka Dravyas.
Okay, but sir, I tried to find certain things like it is Tuth, it is not soluble in any of the fat substances or anything of that sort. So it's only with Prabha we can understand it is acting in Jatyadi Tel.
You have many times you have some amount of small quantities of trace elements of Tutta coming out into the oil. Or the
Okay.
heat. You have trace elements. See, we have done one test, like what we have done is even for Saraswatarishta, you have explained with that of gold, right? So what we do is we take small amount of gold work and we just lay it on the whole surface of Saraswatarishta. And accidentally to see all the gold gets disintegrated into Saraswatarishta. So similarly, it happens even with Tutta. When you go for the Jatyadi Tail, the end product, what you have, send it for analysis, you find the copper concentrations in it. Might be it is small quantity, but still you can get it.
Okay. Okay. Because there was certain opinions coming up like okay, we should be using Tuth Bhasma and we should be adding it post as a after Pak we should be adding Tuth.
Tutta Basma he did not mention, he explained copper, and many times I will say in presence of copper, certain alkaloid release is very high. You are adding so many herbal drugs there, and certain alkaloids concentration or some chemical processing happening in the alkaloids or the amount of alkaloids to release into the ghee is quite high in presence of copper.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you so much for that. And all your lectures are, sir, blessing for all of us, because the clinical side, which is exhibited by you, which you have practiced for so long, that gives us confidence that whatever you are telling us, that is going to be beneficial. So that is the best part. We have having you on this platform, and we are really blessed. If you have any other questions, uh,
No, I
you can
don't think
take
there
them
are
up,
any
Meenakshi.
questions.
Okay.
So if there are any questions further, then we can add them in group. But till now, there are no other questions.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. And we will look forward to more discussions with you. We know you are with us from the very beginning, and we hope to conclude Rasratna Samuchay with you, and maybe continue with some more Rasa Granthas. But for now, it has to be with Rasratna Samuchay, and we are blessed to have you here, sir, and all other participants also. And thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining always. And with this, we conclude the session. And thank you. Namaskar to all of you. Thank you so much for joining.